See, you are observing the photo here. This is all about our digestive system. So in this system, you know very well about this. It starts with the mouth and finally ends with the anus. So in this way, so what are the reactions, what we are going to see, what are the parts are there, how the food is digested and how the food is absorbed into our body, we will discuss now. So every animal needs food, so that's why because of the food we will grow and our body gets repaired and also we will get immunity power. So that's why here essential system, it is a anabolic system which is going to build up our body. So digestive system is the best example which is going to get growth of the body. So that's why anabolism, we will get to store the energy. And another system is there called respiratory system. Because of that, what happens, whatever the energy we will eat, whatever the energy it is there, so that is going to get give energy. So whatever the food we will eat, that is going to give energy. Okay, so now we are going to see the system, digestive system, okay, which starts with mouth and ends with the anus. In this way, first we will see mouth. Okay, mouth. So here in this, what are the parts you can see in the mouth? Generally, mouth is the part between two lips and the two jaws, you know, upper jaw and lower jaw, and also you are seeing the upper lip and lower lip. So between that, if you can see, is all about the teeth, and another one is palate. Okay, another one is tongue. So these are all the parts we can see. Mouth leads to enter into the part that is buccal cavity. Buccal cavity. Okay, so first thing, the part we started our lesson with the mouth. So from the mouth, if you see inside, what is this opening? This opening is buccal cavity. So mouth leads to buccal cavity. In the buccal cavity, there is a teeth, palate and tongue. So what is palate? First we will see what is palate, then we will move to teeth. So first of all, you see the palate, if you see this diagram clearly, okay, if you see the here, this is the passage of air through nose and this is the passage of food. Yes, you are observing there is a flyover from where the air will go. This is palate. Palate is a separating membrane. Anteriorly it is made with bone and posteriorly this is soft. So anyway, here you can see this is all about hard palate. This is all about soft palate. Okay, so hard palate and soft palate, right? So from here the air will go and also from here the food will go. So there is a clear cut separating membrane is there. Anteriorly it is with bone and posteriorly it is with muscular. So that is a very soft palate. The hanging structure is called uvula. Okay, so this is all about uvula. So the structure what we are observing here, this is all palate. Now we will move to the next part, that is all about teeth. Okay, so you know what is the use of teeth? Teeth is useful for mechanical digestion, means crushing the food. We will crush the food. So anyway, here the palate, whatever the palate we completed, now we are moving to teeth. So there are how many types of teeth are there? We will see now. Generally, if you see the mouth, okay, if a person, see this, suppose imagine that this is all about upper lip. Okay, there is a teeth. So these are called incisors. The next teeth is there, canine. The next teeth is premolar and again premolar The next one is molar, molar, molar. So this is the one side of the jaw. If you see from here to here, if you see from here to here, there is a half of the dental formula you are observing here, that is all about half of the jaw. This is all about half of the jaw. Anyway, so total how many incisors are there? 2. How many canines are there? 1. How many premolars are there? 2. How many molars are there? 3. So this is our dental formula, that is all about half side of the jaw, right? Anyway, so upper jaw as it is same like that, lower jaw is also there. 2, 1, 2, 3. So this is all about our dental formula. 2, 1, 2, 3 by 2, 1, 2, 3. 2, 1, 2, 3 by 2, 1, 2, 3 is our dental formula. So means upper side, if you see here the 8 teeth are there, here also lower side you can see 8 teeth are there. Same like that, here also 8 teeth are there, here also 8 teeth are there. So all over 16 in the upper jaw, 16 in the lower jaw. So total how many there are? Total 32 teeth are present in the adult. Okay, suppose if you see the adult means after 22 years of age, if you see, there will be a formula that is all about 2, 1, 2, 3 by 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, right. Now there is a thing generally we will see in our childhood, we have milk teeth. That milk teeth will go away. Deciduous teeth. They are replaced by permanent teeth. Right? Let us see. So what about the teeth in the childhood? So that is called milk set. So anyway, we are moving to that part. So finally we understood what is 2, 1, 2, 3 by 2, 1, 2, 3. Let us discuss all clearly about the teeth now. Okay, so now we are discussing about the milk set, that is all. Okay, in your childhood, incisors, canines, premolars, molars. So what about incisors? In childhood, there is 2. Canines, 1. Premolar, 0. Molars, 2. So 2102 by 2102 is our dental formula. 2102 by 2102. Okay, so this is all about. So total how many teeth are there? You can see now 10 upper jaw, 10 lower jaw. Total overall 20 teeth only present. So total how many teeth are present in a children? There is all about only 20 teeth. Okay, so overall teeth in adult, once again I am writing about the adult dental formula, 2123 by 2123. So total how many? 32. But in childhood how many there are? 20. Means how many teeth are extra? There are 12 teeth extra. And that are only one time you are observing. Monophyodont teeth. Means you see this number is not there in the childhood. Among this one extra, here among this one extra you are observing. So means complete set of premolars and there is one extra teeth you are observing here. So means only one time total 12 teeth are coming, that is monophyodont teeth. Monophyodont teeth 0, 0. Okay, here 2, 1 by 0, 0, 2, 1. So I adapted the number 2 from here, 1 from here. And total here you can see this is all about premolars. This is all about molar. Which molar it is? Last molar. This is called wisdom teeth. This is called wisdom teeth. Generally you will get wisdom because of this teeth? No. But generally we will call that the mental maturity will be there in that age. So that's why this is called wisdom teeth anyway. So because of these teeth we are not going to get the wisdom. It is all about related to brain and our knowledge, our experiences. But here the teeth is generally coming in the at the age of 20 years to 22 years. At that time generally we will say this is the last molar teeth, wisdom teeth. Okay, so total how many teeth are coming only once in our lifetime? Total 12 teeth. Understood? So this is all about childhood, this is all about adulthood, this is all about monophyodont teeth. So the milk set is replaced by adult set. Now we are discussing about the single teeth, that is called tooth single. Now you see the structure of tooth. Suppose if you see a canine structure, you see here, this is all about canine, okay, which is sharp pointed, right? Right. Anyway, this is all about gums, okay, the jawbone which is covered with the gums, okay. So like this here, if you see, okay, we will get the diagram of that tooth here. Okay, see here, this is all about the diagram of tooth. Okay, so here you see, what is this part? That part is enamel. What is this part? You are observing this part. This is all about enamel, which is very hard part in our body. Okay, so see here, I am drawing that clearly for you. So this is all about the outer shiny part. What is this part? Enamel. Enamel is the outer shiny part, and also this enamel, whatever the part you are observing, this is all about ectodermal origin, which is derived from ectoderm. Ameloblast cells. Ameloblast cells. So this is the hardest part in our body. Generally we will think that bones are hardest, but no. Okay, with the structure which is stronger than the bone in our body is the shiny white color structure you are observing. This is all about enamel. Enamel is derived from ectoderm. Okay, so what are the cells involved in the formation of that? Ameloblast cells. What are that? Ameloblast cells. Okay, now just below this enamel, see here, below this enamel, so another hard part is there. This is all about dentin. Okay, this is all about dentin. You see here in this picture, you can clearly you can see this is all about the dentin. Whatever you are observing, this is shiny white. Okay, only in the crown region you can see. So which part you can see clearly in the crown region? That is all about crown. But you see, this is all about neck, which is attached to gums, and also the root which is inserted almost all into the jaws. So this is all about root. So among the three parts, crown, root, okay, neck, simple part. You can also, we can separate them. So here to here, we can say that it is all about the neck region. Neck. So what is the specialty of this neck region? From here to here, what about this neck region? It is attached with the gums. The part which is fixed with the jawbone is root. Okay. Now we will see, this is the dentin. This is also hard part. Okay. So dentin is going to get. So from where this dentin came? So what are the cells involved in the dentin formation? You see, there is odontoblast cells. What are these cells? Odontoblast cells. Odontoblast cells. Yes, you see, So this you see in the red color, you are observing this is all about the lining of the dentin. This is all odontoblast lining. What is this? Odontoblast lining. So generally in this diagram you can see this is the dentin, this line you see. You can observe this. This is all about the lining of dentin. This lining consists odontoblast cells. So they are the mother cells of the dentin. Okay. Actually dentin is derived from mesoderm. From where the dentin derived? Dentin derived from mesoderm. Dentin derived from mesoderm. So like that, if you take the tooth, there are two origins are there. One origin is about ectoderm and also another origin dentin is from mesoderm. So like that, ectoderm and mesoderm both are involved in the formation of tooth. So that's why tooth is dual origin. Dual means double. Understood? One is about enamel, another one is about dentin. Yes, coming to the next part, you see the gap. Yes, you are observing the gap here, the space. This space is nothing but pulp cavity. What is this? Pulp cavity. So into this pulp cavity, arteries, veins and nerves will come into contact. They will supply nutrients here. Okay, so arteries are there, veins are there and nerves are also present. Artery, vein, nerves are present, which was entered into the pulp cavity to give the nourishment to the tooth. So this is all about the structure, crown region, neck region and finally root. Right. Now we will see one more thing. So how they attach to jawbone? Let us see the fixing. Okay. So if you see the fixing, generally this is jawbone. Yes, this is the jawbone. Just I am writing here. This is jawbone. Jawbone is lined by periodontal membrane. Periodontal membrane. Periodontal membrane. Dentin is covered by cementum. Dentin is covered by cementum. Okay, so now let us go from outside to inside. See the first one. This is jawbone, right? Jawbone. Jawbone is lined by periodontal membrane. Periodontal membrane. After that, dentin is covered by cementum. After that, dentin. After that, periodontal membrane. After that, pulp cavity. So this is the way. Again we will come from inside to outside. Pulp cavity, periodontal membrane, dentin, cementum, periodontal membrane and a jawbone. Okay, what is this? This is the odontoid membrane. Once again, pulp cavity, odontoid membrane, dentin, cementum, next one is jaw. Periodontal membrane, jawbone. So like that, in examination they will ask you about what are the structures from inside to outside, outside to inside. What is this lining? Periodontal membrane or odontoid membrane? Odontoid membrane. What is this? Odontoid membrane. Why? Because odontoblast cells are there, so that's why odontoid membrane. So this is all about the tooth. So how it is fixed strongly? Because of periodontal membrane lining the jawbone, cementum lining the dentin. So these two are fixed with each other, tightly pressed with each other. So that's why our teeth will have lot of strength. So they are immovable. Tongue, you see. Okay. So the structure, a flat structure. Yes. So this is the tongue, flexible, right? So anteriorly it is free and posteriorly it is fixed, right? So this posteriorly it is fixed, but anteriorly you can see the free movement. Anyway, this is all about tongue, right? This is called a frenulum. The tongue which is going to fix the posterior part with the jawbone or the floor of buccal cavity. This is the floor of buccal cavity where it is going to fix with the structure frenulum. What is this? Frenulum. Anyway, now tongue is consists taste buds. You know, tongue consists taste buds. What are the names of the taste buds? Fungiform, filiform, okay, foliate, circumvallate. So like that many varieties are there, but foliate papillae are reduced in human beings. Anyway, so here we are taking only 3 regions. This is the tip of the tongue, this is the middle part of the tongue, and this is all about the posterior part. Anyway, so here this is all about the tip of the tongue. We are discussing now. Apalna? Stop this. Veg, non-veg. Rendu, no problem. ఆపేసినావా? సరే, రైట్. ఎనీవే, ఇక్కడ టిప్ ఆఫ్ ద టంగ్ ఫంగిఫార్మ్. వాట్ ఆర్ దిస్? ఫంగిఫార్మ్. దిస్ ఈజ్, you see the middle of the tongue, you can see fungiform. Tarvata filiform, filament like, so that's a filiform, fungiform, filiform. And this is the last part. You are observing small pimples like structures we can see clearly here in this area. So this is all about circumvallate, circumvallate. So like that here in the tongue you can see fungiform papillae, tip of the tongue, filiform papillae on the floor. You can see this part, the middle of the tongue, you can say filament like. And another one is circumvallate. What is that? Circumvallate. So like that there are 3 types of papillae are there. They plays important role to taste the food. Different types of taste, different regions they have different types of taste buds. So this is the cellular aggregations which can receive the taste. So gustatory sensillae, officially that is called gustatory sensillae are present on the tongue. So tongue is made with and it's moved with the special type of muscles, skeletal muscles. What are the muscles which are in our control? So what we want to speak, okay, so that we are doing. So anyway, so this is all about skeletal muscles. And one more thing is there, the interesting factor about the tongue, it is called universal toothbrush. And one more thing is also there, which can manipulate the food. Means when we are chewing, it throws the food between the jaws and also mixes the food with saliva and prepares food bolus. That is very much useful for us to swallow the food. Okay, this part you can see now. In this, so just now I said close cheyana. Continue chesta. Right. Okay. So mouth, you can see we completed, and also in this part we discussed about the tongue. Now you see this one, tongue. Now after tongue you can see this part. Okay, so we will discuss salivary glands later, but now we will discuss about the pharynx. So now I want to discuss about the pharynx. If you see this part, okay, so this is all about the passage, food passage. You can see there are 2 pipes you are observing here. One is going into stomach and another is going to lungs. So the part what you are observing here, it is all about trachea. This is trachea. Suppose see the person is here, towards the face is towards here. Okay, suppose see here the towards the first part which is called trachea. The next part is esophagus. So like that, here I am writing about the trachea. Ventral part is called trachea and the dorsal part is esophagus. So pharynx is the region where you can see the two canals. So you see this is all about the pipe, you are observing this is all about the trachea, and another one is esophagus. You know this part is called glottis. The important part we can see, this is glottis. Glottis is covered by epiglottis. Glottis is covered by epiglottis. Epiglottis, you see, is a gatekeeper. So these epiglottis do not allow the food to enter into the trachea, which is always going to close the trachea when the food and water is passing. Compulsory, the food and water must pass through this way. So at the time of swallowing the food, this epiglottis is going to close the trachea. So like that. Okay? Right. Now esophagus. Here we can see the esophagus. See, directly you are observing a straight tube from here to here. This is all about esophagus. Esophagus is not useful for digestion. Esophagus is a simple passage from the pharynx region to directly to the stomach. Okay, so like that, it is the food which is not going to stop in this area and it is fully with mucus lining. So that's why directly the food will come. And you know, this is here in my body you can see. So this is all about the thoracic region. This is all about the abdominal region. So here the esophagus is passing through the thoracic region and pierces the diaphragm, enters into abdomen and opens into a large sac called stomach. And one more important thing is there. Here in the esophagus, there is a sphincter. Okay, esophageal sphincter, anterior esophageal sphincter, which is made with skeletal muscles. The middle, both skeletal muscles are there and also smooth muscles also there, both. But when coming to down, this is fully made with smooth muscles. Okay, if you are interested to swallow the food, you can swallow it. Once you swallowed the food, directly it will pass to stomach. In between it will not come out. In the middle also it never comes out. So like that, this is the passage. You can see this is in our control, that because it is made with skeletal muscles. But later you cannot see, which is not in our control, because smooth muscles domination increases. Like that. Okay, the next title, stomach. The next title is stomach. Right. Now the stomach is J-shaped structure. The stomach is J-shaped structure. You can see. Yes, this is the stomach. Okay. So generally here this part you can see there is a sphincter which is coming from esophagus. You know, just now we discussed about esophagus. Now this is cardiac sphincter. The next you can see this part is cardiac part. This part is called fundic part, and this part is pyloric part. Here there is a sphincter. This is pyloric sphincter. What is this? Pyloric sphincter. Okay, esophagus, opens into stomach, then stomach finally opens into this C-shaped structure. You see C, from here to here you can see the C. So this structure is duodenum. Duodenum. So anyway, so now stomach is divided into three parts. The first part is cardiac part, fundic part. Okay, so the next one is pyloric part and pyloric sphincter. So cardiac, pyloric sphincters, two sphincters are there. Now cardiac part, fundic part and pyloric part, these three parts. Now we will see about okay, what are the layers present in the wall of stomach. Now yes, you see, now I am going to draw the diagram of this particular part. Okay, what is this part? This is the part of stomach wall. What is this? This is the stomach wall. Now we will see what are the layers present in the stomach wall. Yes, you see the layers you are observing here. You see, I am giving the rough idea about the diagram. The first part, this is called serous membrane or serosa. What is this first part? You see, serosa. Serosa made with epithelium. You see, this is serosa. Yes, you see, this is serosa. What you are observing in light red color, this is all about the layer, serosa layer. Then afterwards, after serosa, you see the layer, this is all about muscular layer. After that, muscular layer. After serosa, muscular layer is there. These muscles, there are two types of muscles are there. Okay. So what are these muscles? First we will see longitudinal muscles. Okay. Then next we can see circular muscles. See now, first what is this? Serosa, right? Then what is this? Longitudinal muscles. And what is this? Circular muscles. So like that, longitudinal muscles and circular muscles are present. Because of these muscles, the alimentary canal will get peristaltic movements called peristalsis. One more important thing is there. Between the longitudinal muscles and circular muscles, there is a nerve plexus is also there. This is parasympathetic nervous system, which we can see that controls the movement, rest and digest movements. That is parasympathetic nervous system. Nerve plexus is also there. We can see nerve plexus between the longitudinal muscles and circular muscles. Now let us see the next one. After these circular muscles, there is a layer called submucosa. Submucosa layer. Generally this is very important layer. Why? Because here there will be blood vessels. So what are these present? Blood vessels are there and also lymph vessels are there in this region. Okay, and also nerves connection is also there. So anyway, this is a very important region where the supply or collecting purpose blood vessels, lymph vessels will start traveling through this way. So where it is going to travel? Some blood vessels will travel towards the muscles, and some blood vessels and lymph vessels, they will travel towards the muscularis layer. After that, this is mucosa. This is all the layer about mucosa. Mucosa. Okay, now we can see submucosa and mucosa. Now, so what is this? What is the specialty of mucosa? Mucosa layer is made with this mucosa layer. This is made with simple columnar epithelium. Simple columnar epithelium. Simple columnar epithelium, which consists of goblet cells. You know the diagram of this particular cells. Okay, goblet cells are there. What are these? You know, what are these? These are the columnar epithelium. Columnar epithelium. And this is in between here and there. What you can see? Not continuously. Here and there. What you can see? This is all about goblet cells. Goblet cells. These goblet cells are very important to secrete the mucus. So very thick mucus lining is there in the stomach. Why? Because you know, okay, in our stomach there is a gas, that is there is a acid. This is all about HCl. What is that? Acid HCl. This HCl may damage these walls. Okay, so that's why to prevent the excoriation, damage caused by the acid, it's called excoriation. To prevent that, there is very thick, very thick that is mucosa, secretes mucus. So that's why this very thick mucus lining protects the stomach from the excoriation caused by HCl. So this type of arrangement is there in our stomach, and your small foldings you are seeing. Okay, so these small foldings are, we can also call, this is called rugae, gastric rugae, gastric rugae. And one more important thing is there about the mucosa layer. Generally in the mucosa layer, here and there we can see the base of the mucosa layer, gastric glands. What are these? Gastric glands are present. Gastric glands which secretes enzymes. We will discuss what are gastric glands in the next class. We will discuss about salivary glands, gastric glands, pancreatic glands, etc. We will see, but generally we are discussing anatomy now about this particular part. Anyway, serosa, longitudinal muscles, circular muscles, submucosa, mucosa. Generally these four we will see generally, but here and there in the stomach, here and there, after circular muscles you can see oblique muscles also, but not continuously. These are oblique muscles. Here and there you can see oblique muscles in the stomach. That is the special point. Okay, sometimes they will ask you about the arrangement of layers. Serosa, longitudinal muscles, circular muscles, submucosa, mucosa, and finally lumen of the stomach. So like that, from outside to inside or inside to outside, what are the layers are present, you have to arrange in a order. So that type of question also they will ask. So order is very important now, right? This small turning, so esophagus, stomach, and this turning, this is C-shaped turning. Okay, previously it is called U-shaped turning also, but now, okay, there is a small correction here, that is all about C-shape. So, okay, if there is no option about you to write about the U or C, you will go prefer for C only. Okay, anyway, now this is the stomach. Opening into the next part, this is now what we are going to discuss. This is all about small intestine. So that title I am writing here, it is small intestine. What is that? Small intestine. So just now we completed the part. This is stomach. Now entering into the C, you see C-shaped structure, not U-shape. Okay, if there is no option, you will go with U, but if the option is there about the C, you will prefer C only, right? Anyway, so this is the duodenum. Duodenum opens into the next part, the continuation part. This is called jejunum. Then highly coiled tube. You see this highly coiled tube. This highly coiled long tube is called ileum. Now you understood. Okay, what is duodenum, what is jejunum and what is ileum. So generally duodenum is a simple tube, but when coming to duodenum there will be light curves. But when coming to jejunum, automatically after that jejunum ileum, there is a so many curves part is there. So longest part in our alimentary canal, where more digestion and more absorption occurs, that is all about the ileum. This part is very important for absorption. Anyway, one by one we will come. First duodenum, right? Duodenum. Here above this you can see is the liver. As in the diagram we can see in this picture, you see this is the duodenum. So here there is a connection about liver and also there is a connection about pancreas. There is a connection about which is coming from liver and also another connection is coming from pancreas. How it will, we will see now. So there is a connection which is coming from liver and also there is another connection which is coming from the next part here. This is pancreas. What is this? Pancreas. And this is all about liver. This is called common bile duct. Common bile duct. So from liver common bile duct is coming, from pancreas pancreatic duct is coming. These two together opens as ampulla of Vater. Ampulla of Vater. Okay, which is very near to, what is this? OD sphincter. OD sphincter. Okay, so in this duodenum, if you zoom it once again, okay, you see clearly. Okay, what is this? From here, from liver. Okay, here observing green color, right? So that is bile juice is coming in this way. So that's why we can call it is a common bile duct, and from pancreas, pancreatic duct. So from liver this is coming, from pancreas it is coming. All over. Okay, so this ampulla of Vater, okay, where the two tubules are jointed, this is we can also named as hepatopancreatic duct. Where the two tubules are open, this is all about hepatopancreatic duct, that is going to get into the ampulla of Vater. Ampulla of Vater has a sphincter, close open. For that there is a OD sphincter. What is this? This is OD sphincter. So this is the arrangement you are observing here clearly about the connections from both the sides. One is from pancreas and another one from liver. So that is the specialty of duodenum. Okay, right. For what purpose, sir? Why these connections are there? Because you know, in stomach acidic food is there. Acidic food is called chyme. Partially digested acidic food is called chyme. So that acidic food may damage the duodenum wall. So that's why, okay, to convert it into alkaline medium and also to digest, this type of arrangement is very much essential for duodenum. So that's why duodenum, okay, try to convert the acidic food into alkaline medium. So just now I told in stomach HCl is there. So all the enzymes will work in acidic medium, especially in the stomach. But when coming to the small intestine, but which one is playing important role to convert that? And these okay, bile juice, pancreatic juice and intestinal juice all together converts the enzymes, all together will convert the acidic food into alkaline food. So this is, so here all about alkaline medium, this is all about acidic medium, right? Anyway, now we will go to the jejunum and as well as ileum. Now we will see the layers arrangement, same like that as usual. In stomach we discussed, same like that I am writing here. What is the first layer? First layer is serosa layer. First layer is serosa layer. As usual, what is the next layer? Just now we discussed in stomach now. Yes, this is all about longitudinal muscles and this is about circular muscles. Muscularis. The next one is submucosa. Next layer is submucosa and the next one is mucosa. Can you see here oblique muscles? No, we cannot see the oblique muscles. Right. Serosa, longitudinal muscles, circular muscles, submucosa and mucosa is there. Okay, yes, you see in the mucosa layer, you can see very long foldings are there, finger-like foldings. These very large finger-like foldings you can see, this is villi. Mucosa layer, what is the specialty of mucosa here? And here which consists villi. Base of this villi also we can see the intestinal glands. Okay, especially in the jejunum and ileum you can see this type of arrangement. Which part? In the jejunum and also in the ileum. You can see this arrangement. But in the duodenum part, if you see this duodenum part, why I am writing like this from here to here? Because in the duodenum part, submucosa consists glands. These are called Brunner's glands. Brunner's glands. This is the specialty. So in the duodenum region, Brunner's glands are there. In the mucosa region, this is you can see, especially in the jejunum and ileum, this is crypts of Lieberkühn. Crypts of Lieberkühn. The specialty. So the structural arrangement is same. The parts are three. What are that? Duodenum, jejunum, ileum. So duodenum, jejunum, ileum. So like the three parts are there. Structure is also same. But what is the specialty you are observing in the duodenum? In the duodenum, Brunner's glands are present, and as usual here in the ileum and jejunum you can see crypts of Lieberkühn is present. These are present in the mucosa region and Brunner's glands are present in the duodenum region. Special glands. So they will ask you about, the question will come like that. Where is the Brunner's glands are located? Brunner glands are located in the duodenum part, especially in the submucosa. Where is crypts of Lieberkühn? Crypts of Lieberkühn present in the base of the villi and mucosa. But the function of these two, Brunner's glands and crypts of Lieberkühn, function is same. Both can release succus entericus. What is succus entericus? Succus entericus is nothing but intestinal juice. Succus entericus is nothing but intestinal juice. Okay, so see in this diagram you can see there are many foldings you are observing, and you understood. So here you see light foldings are there jejunum, many foldings are there ileum. Okay, so then next you see this part which is going to get open into, okay, what is this region? Large intestine. Now we are moving into the large intestine part. Almost all the last part of the alimentary canal we moved. This is all about ileum, ileum. Just now we discussed about ileum. Now this ileum is going to open into large intestine. Okay, here you see the large intestine, first part of large intestine is cecum. You see this part? This is called cecum. Cecum ends with a finger-like projection. This is called appendix. You know very well about this appendix. Vestigial organ, not useful for us. but in the herbivorous animals which eats grass, plant materials only, in that herbivorous animals, this cecum and appendix is very large in size. Why? Because in this cecum and appendix, symbiotic bacteria are there. They are very important bacteria. They can secrete cellulase enzyme to digest cellulose. Cellulase enzyme to digest cellulose. But we are omnivores, so that's why in our body this is very small, almost vestigial, but it is very useful in herbivorous animals. That is the story. Now we are moving from this part, cecum to appendix and appendix to cecum. So here you can see there is a valve and also a sphincter. This is called ileocecal valve. Ileocecal valve, and also there is a sphincter, ileocecal sphincter, and there is a ileocecal valve, which will prevent once the food from small intestine to it is entered into the large intestine, again it never goes back. So that's why the valve is there. You know the importance of valve, one side entry, that is the meaning of valve, right? Anyway, from here, okay, from this cecum we are moving to large intestine. Okay, you see the large intestine structure, right? You see this part. So this is the part colon. So you see ascending colon, next transverse colon. Okay, see in this picture first. See this finger like projection you are observing. This is appendix, means here in this photo you can see this is the cecum appendix. So here you are not observing clearly, but anyway you see this is the cecum and you see cecum and appendix. Next, from here what is started? Which part is started? This is all about colon. What is this colon? Ascending colon, which is moving up. Then transverse colon. The next descending colon. Okay. Then sigmoid colon. You see the turn sigmoid colon. So ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, and another one is sigmoid colon. Sigmoid colon finally ends to rectum. Yes, you see this rectum. So this rectum is only useful for storing the fecal matter. What is the use of large intestine actually? Large intestine is useful only for absorption of water and some medicinal drugs. Okay, so anyway here colon leads to finally into rectum. This rectum stores fecal matter and absorbs water only. Finally, this is anal canal. What is this? Anal canal. Right? So in this anal canal, there are two sphincters are there. Yes, this is one sphincter and this is one sphincter. Here and here you are observing two sphincters. One is made with this is smooth muscles. This is called inner anal sphincter. Inner anal sphincter. And this is all about external anal sphincter. So external anal sphincter, internal anal sphincter you are observing. Internal anal sphincter fully made with smooth muscles. And external anal sphincter is fully made with skeletal muscles. What are that? Skeletal muscles. So that's why which is in our control? Which is in our control? this anal sphincter, external anal sphincter is in our control. When we wish to defecation, when we we want to release the undigested food, that is in our control, but the inner anal sphincter is not like that, which gives us sensation of defecation. Okay, so the students, now we discussed all about the alimentary canal. So what are the parts of alimentary canal? We will see now. Once it is started with mouth, okay, and finally ends with anus. Is it one-way gut or two-way gut? It is one-way gut. Completely developed alimentary canal. One-way gut. Why I used the word one-way? Why? Because from mouth the food is going to get into ingested, and it is passing in this way, 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 and finally releasing out through anus. So mouth is the entry, anus is the exit. Okay, right. Now, right. So our journey started with mouth and entered into buccal cavity. Okay, in the buccal cavity, what are the parts we discussed? Yes, we discussed about palate and we discussed about tooth. Okay, and also we discussed about the dental formula of the teeth. Then we discussed about tongue. This comes under buccal cavity, right? Then we move to pharynx. Then we move to, what is next part? Esophagus. Esophagus. Then next, stomach. Then next, what is that? Small intestine. Small intestine. Okay, again from small intestine we move to large intestine. Large intestine. Finally, large intestine ends with anus. So like that, from mouth it is started, from anus it is closed. In between, we discussed about buccal cavity, soft palate and hard palate, and tooth arrangement, tongue, pharynx, esophagus, okay, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, anus. What are the parts we discussed in small intestine? Serially, tell me serially. So this is all serially about. First one is duodenum. Okay. The next part, jejunum. Okay. The next part, ileum. Okay. Same like you tell me in the large intestine also, what are the parts? Yes, first one is cecum. Cecum. Next, colon. Next, rectum. These are the parts. Okay, same like that you tell me in stomach also. What are the parts? The first part is cardiac part. What is next? Fundic part. Okay, fundic part. Last part is pyloric part. So like that. You can also call fundus. Fundic region we can also name as fundus. Why? Because here digestive glands are there, some gas is also there in the fundus region. Okay, right. So like that we completed our journey from here to here. Some important points again. Okay, you see here in stomach the specialty is there, oblique muscles are present, that is one more important point. In small intestine also we discussed about some of the important things, what are the Brunner's glands and what are the crypts of Lieberkühn. Okay, what is the importance of large intestine, what are the sphincters present in the anus. Okay students, so this is all about alimentary canal and also all about the passage of food, which is mainly made with smooth muscles and sphincters.